Hey everybody, it's the old man talking to you again. Hope you're doing all right out there in the middle of this coronavirus outbreak out here in New England. As always, I got some advice for you, but I'd like to put it in context with some historical quotes from people that have gone before. First quote I got is from someone named Plato. You might know about him, read about him. He lived about 300 years or so before the birth of Christ. And he and his teacher, Socrates, used to get together on a regular basis and discuss lots of things. And one of the things that they did do was they differed quite a bit, but they got together and they made sure they had their facts together, and then they would debate as reasonable men. They wouldn't call each other names. They didn't call him stupid Socrates or plump Plato. They were very respectful. And of course, many different quotes you could have from them. And if you don't mind, I'm going to read a quote right here from Plato, from something he wrote called the Phaedrus. And here's what he said, quote, "Things are not always what they seem. The first appearance deceives many. The intelligence of a few perceives that which has been carefully hidden." So I want you to think about that for a second. I just want to finish this cut right here, working on this project. There we go. Okay, so now the second person that I'd like to quote, second historical figure, and that was actually a fellow by the name of Samuel Clemens. You might know him as Mark Twain. He wrote things like The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer. He also helped Ulysses S. Grant finish up his autobiography, and it was timely because he finished it 2 weeks before he died, so that was pretty close. The other thing about Mark Twain was he was born in 1835, at the time that the Halley's Comet was around, and he died 75 years later when Halley's Comet comes around again. Comes around every 75 years, so all pretty interesting. He wrote a lot of things, he said a lot of things. The quote I'd like to use is simply this, quote, "Truth is the most valuable thing we have." So you want to think about that too. And then finally, I've got a quote from someone who lived 550 years before the birth of Christ. And he was named Sun Tzu. And his quote was timely because, well, he was a famous Chinese general, very, very successful because he knew a lot of things about war. And so he actually wrote a book you can read about. It's called The Art of War. And again, a nice quick quote from him, very straightforward, quote, "All warfare is based on deception." And the other thing that I'll add is deception is the art of making someone believe something that's not true. Now, right now, why would I give you quotes about the war? Because there's a war going on. It's going on between the humans and the coronavirus. I don't know who's going to win. I hope we win. But there's also a war going on for your information, your intellect, the kinds of things that you think of. And you've got to make decisions every day, and they're very important decisions, and they're going to really determine whether you live or die and whether your families live or die. So my advice to you is every day you go on your phone, you turn it on, the first thing that comes up, an orange banner, a red banner, and the first two words, one of them, is COVID-19 or coronavirus. And then there's something on there that tells you about that. So what I'm advising you to do is when you read that, don't believe it right away. Take 60 more seconds. Hit your phone a couple of times. Go to a website that you trust. Find out if that's true or not. Please make sure that you're working with true facts. As Samuel Clemens said, truth is the most valuable thing that we have. So, there's my advice to you. Two good things about advice. The first is it's free. Second is you don't have to take it. And remember, things may not always be what they appear to be. It's the old man talking to you. See you next time, God willing.